Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I wanted to talk about my top 5 problems with Destiny PvP, or player versus player. The gameplay that you're seeing right now is the Skirmish mode, which is the 3v3 kinda sorta team deathmatch with revives, but revives gives you points and it's a point accumulation game, so they're very, very important. I am playing as a Bladedancer Hunter, my favorite class, pulse rifle and fusion rifle for backup. Before I get too far into my top 5 problems with this game, I just wanted to state briefly that this is not intended to be a hater video, rather constructive criticism, nor is this intended to be part of a overall like hater negative channel or anything like that. None of my accounts are super high leveled, as the late game grind isn't particularly appealing to me, and we're going to talk about that later on. And by and large, I do enjoy playing this game online, so it's not like I absolutely despise this game, even though I do feel that it has a few problems, and that was very satisfying to just knife that guy right off of the map. But problem number 1 is that the lag comp in this game is really weird. I'm not exactly sure what the lag compensation was programmed to do or intended to do, but it reminds me a lot of the older Halo games, but kind of in a bad way. There is a lot of kill trading in Destiny. If you've played the multiplayer for more than just a few minutes, you know that it's very easy for each of you to headshot each other, or to have a gunfight, or an assault rifle fight, or a fusion rifle, even a shotgun or a melee fight, and you can kind of smack each other down, or I keep wanting to say beat each other down Halo style, but it's something that's just very, very easy to do in this game, and it's not something that's entirely appealing to me. I really don't like kill trading. That was one of the things that I enjoyed about Call of Duty, is that in a gunfight you almost never killed each other. Somebody won and somebody lost. The lag compensation in this game is designed to be more forgiving, and as such the trading gets kinda heavy and kinda weird. On a similar note, people die a long time after I shoot them. Again, if you've played this for very long, you'll notice that you'll shoot somebody and then run around the corner, and then they'll die a second later. Even if you're not watching them, the points come up later. Even when you do shoot them, sometimes you can watch them take a couple of extra steps and then die, and it doesn't feel very connected in that way. It also doesn't feel very fair either. It feels very, very weird and kind of displeasing of me. I would prefer people to die immediately when I shoot them instead of a few seconds later. Not a big fan of that. Again, it's kind of the opposite of COD, and it really reminds me of the type of lag compensation that we had back in old Halo games, where you could beat each other down and like shotgun each other to death and stuff like that. You didn't have very many assault rifle or battle rifle trades, but you did have a few, and unfortunately there's a lot more of that going on in Destiny. Like I said, it still plays well, I just prefer it didn't do those things. Problem number 2 is that the matchmaking system is not balanced enough, or I don't feel that it's matching me with appropriately leveled enemies. I'm going to break out my Bladedancer here, and we're going to clean house and then get some revives going on, because I do not want to let my teammates down. I don't like to leave them hanging. I like to get those revives and be a good team player here. And when I say not balanced, I'm not talking about the overall game balance, though we will talk about that later. It matches me weird. When I was a lower level, I wanted to go to the Crucible to play and level up, so that playing campaign or PvE, player versus enemies, would be evil, and I was level 9. Going into Crucible at level 9, really not that advised, but thankfully it scales. I do the same damage, have the same armor as other people in other classes, which is great, but for whatever reason, it was still matching me with people that were level 20 plus. I was level 9, and then there's this guy that's level 18, and a guy that's level 26, and a guy that's level 23, and they have essentially maxed out their ability charts, so they have all sorts of abilities and moves and intangible things that I do not have. On top of that, all of their weapons and armor have different sort of abilities, like less recoil, reloads bullets into the magazine, reloads faster, and I don't have any of these things, and it's not a simple matter of progressing to the point where I do have them or making it balanced, but it's just kind of frustrating that I get matched and put into the same lobby as really high level people like it doesn't even matter. And yes, I know the damage scales and these sort of things, but it really just didn't feel fair. I just felt like they could do so many different things. Their battle recovery was really high like that. They could teleport through the air when I was barely able to double jump, and I feel that the matchmaking system would be much better if they would match it with a tighter range of people that are leveled. Like if you're, I'll go back, I'll use myself as an example. If I'm level 9, I should probably be playing about levels, 5 to 14 or 15 or so. Or if I'm level 15, then the top that I should run into is about level 20, not level 39 or I'm not 39, 29 or something really crazy like that, because I just can't hang with all the cool stuff they have. I mean, I managed to make do, but it was very difficult to do these things, and in that way I feel the matchmaking is unfair. I'm a little bit more of a glutton for punishment. I like challenges, I like things being hard. I actually don't like everything being perfectly fair for me, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with that than the average player, even though it is somewhat frustrating. But the average player is going to get really, really pissed off when they go in at level 7 versus a level 27. They're just things they can do that you just can't, even if the damage is normalized. Problem number 3 is maybe a problem more with my greed than anything else, but I really don't like the fact that the loot rewards are essentially random in multiplayer. And by random, I mean they're not tied to my individual game performance. They do seem to be tied to a certain level of experience that I gain per game or per level or anything or something like that, but they're not tied to how good I do in that game. So it's very disheartening. Even as a lower level player, I was able to carry games. I was able to have like a 2 or 3 kill death ratio, tons of objectives captured, played awesomely, and I got nothing for that game. And the guy down at the bottom of my team that's 1 in 10 that basically just got a little participation ribbon for being in the game got like 2 legendary items. That was ridiculous. That shouldn't happen. And I get that, again, that it's tied to my overall experience, to how long I've been playing and things like that, but it's very disappointing to have absolutely no reward for playing well other than maybe imaginary stats. And I totally understand why Bungie didn't just give the top players the best stuff. Like, if you just had a top on the scoreboard gets the best stuff every single time, then basically the rich would get rich and the poor would get poorer, and if you weren't an exceptional FPS tweak kind of shooter, you weren't going to be getting first very much, and you wouldn't get the good gear, and it would really kind of suck for you. That wouldn't be very fun, and I totally understand that, and I totally agree with why they did it. But on the same side, instead of having a really hard, rigid competitive system where the first players get everything and everybody else gets the scraps, you could have some sort of leveling, some sort of scaling, some sort of, something that would reward me for my performance and lesser reward others. And you can see the rewards here at the end actually panned out pretty good this time, but again, not every time it works that way. They could have something, like I get a higher probability of getting something good for being first. If I get first, I get at least 1 good item, or something kind of like that, instead of just like, meh, it's random, deal with it, play all night. I could sit here and play eating a peanut butter sandwich and listening to Snoop Dogg telling me to smoke weed every day and go 1 in 20, and eventually I would hit the same rewards as the guy that's carrying the team, and that just doesn't seem very fair. Problem number 4 is an issue of balance on the secondary weapons, and that's very similar to problem number 5, but we're going to split those up. There are definitely some balancing issues. None of them are, I'm going to say, game breaking or broken or something that really, kind of gets my panties in a wad. See, that's what I was talking about earlier. I'm level 20 and there's a guy in the game that's a level 11 that's trying to compete with me. I'll start off with the first balance issue being that the game is very, very secondary heavy. I use my my fusion rifle far more than I use any of my primary weapons. Even when I had the hand cannon that was legendary, which was my favorite, the fusion rifle did all the work. Not a lot of people use fusion rifles, or I will say not as many as the people that use shotguns. Shotguns do a ton of work. They're very, very strong. In a similar manner, the fusion rifles are actually extremely strong. I consider them to be more strong than both the sniper and the shotgun. They're just more difficult to use and therefore a little bit less popular, but they can be abused pretty bad. Snipers, again, extremely powerful. A lot of one-shot kills in a game where it's usually more about counterplay and balance and lots of shots and slow time to kills. But it's the fact that every single secondary weapon is so incredibly strong. I see most players foregoing their primary weapon. Like, everybody that I know that plays this game hard, they have like a legendary shotgun or legendary, so they have a legendary or like an exotic something secondary, and they don't worry about the primary as much because it's all about the fusion rifle and shotgun and sniper. Like, I actually try to make it a point to break out my pulse rifle here and use it a little bit in the gameplay just for variety's sake, when the reality is I don't need it as much. There's some design considerations for that. A lot of the maps are a little bit smaller. Obviously on the moon map, the pulse rifle and the assault rifle and the scout rifle are more useful than they are in these little maps, but the maps are generally about the right size for the secondary weapons and not big enough for you to really get into too many awesome gunfights with your primary. So that's just kind of a balance issue. I just feel that it's weird that your secondary ammo is restricted and your primary is really more the specialty weapon. I don't know, it just feels kind of weird to me. Maybe I'm just thinking about it wrong. Problem number 5 is all about the special abilities. I feel that they're too strong and don't offer a whole lot of counterplay. I'm more familiar with the Hunter than anything else. The Hunter Gunslinger, where he calls in the Solar Pistol, or Bladedancer, or the Titan, I'm just going to call it the Super Slam, where he goes and pounds the ground and everything dies. The Warlock's big giant blob that comes in and murders everything. They're all very, very strong, and I'm okay with that because they're essentially like kill streaks in this game. They are a little bit like the Titanfall streaks, kind of like support streaks. Like, you're going to get them eventually anyway, but the better you perform, the faster you get it. It's not as extreme as the problem with Titanfall. But the problem with them is that they don't offer any counterplay. If I'm going to fight somebody, this happens often when I see a Titan and I think, I'm just going to fusion rifle this guy. All he has to do is hit 2 buttons at the same time. I'm playing L1 and R1 because I play on PlayStation 4, and he just comes in and slams the ground and everything in the entire neighborhood dies, and that's it. Too bad. I can't kill him while he's doing it because some of them get bonus health, or if I don't already have him so low, I kill him instantly. Sometimes I'll actually get the fusion rifle shot off, and then he'll slam, and it'll go and kill everything because of the lag compensation. I play as the Bladedancer, which most people consider to be the most overpowered one, and to an extent I understand why. When I go in my blade form, I can dash and fly, I insta-kill people, I have an area of effect kill, and I have bonus health. The Hunter with the pistol kills in one shot. The Warlock kills everything in one shot, just nukes a whole area. You can chunk it at it from afar. And while these are like kill streaks and they make the game fun and they're interesting and there's something to work up toward and build, they're that big reward, that thing that just hits your brain with dopamine that makes you want to keep going. The problem with them is that there's no counterplay to them. I'll poke fun, I'll compare to Call of Duty again because they sort of pioneered this idea, and also include Titanfall because they include it too. Kill streaks in Call of Duty can be shot down. Abilities here you can't really deal with too much without another ability. I think I just used this one to escape. I think I might pick up 1 kill with it, but it was all about popping it to get the extra health to get out of there. It wasn't about anything else. But you can shoot down the kill streaks in Call of Duty. You can hide from them. In Titanfall, there's like 5 different ways to kill a Titan, even though the Titans are stronger than the pilots in most cases. But in this game, if somebody calls in their super powerful ability, there's very, very little that you can do about it, except maybe counter it with another ability. Occasionally when I'm Bladedancer, I'll run into a Titan that smashes me, or another Hunter that shoots me with a solar flare, or, as a Warlock, if I see him throw his big bomb, I might could turn on my Bladedancer and dodge it. But if I didn't have my super ability, I'm just totally SOL, out of luck, doesn't matter, don't care, can't help you. And it's kind of gives you like an ace in a hole that's a little bit unfair. There should be a big audible warning, a wind-up, somebody saying that the other team's super is ready, maybe a longer wind-up, just something to let me know, to give the ability to counterplay this. Leaving it strong and dangerous and that I should probably die is totally fine, that makes sense, but for it to be absolutely hopeless and devoid of any counterplay is very, very frustrating, and I don't think that makes for good gameplay, nor is it very fun. Those are my top 5 issues with Destiny. I'll do a quick recap at the end. Problem number 1, the lag compensation is really weird. People die after I shoot them, and I trade kills. Don't like that. Problem number 2, matchmaking system is not particularly balanced because it'll match really high level people with really low level people, and even though it scales the damage, the abilities still don't seem fair. Problem number 3 is that the rewards are way too random. Problem number 4, again, was about the secondaries being too strong or more important than the primaries, just felt a little bit odd. And problem number 5 that we just finished talking about was that the special abilities don't offer any counterplay. I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you learned something useful, and again, not trying to hate on Destiny, plenty fun, just thought I'd offer some constructive criticism. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Grifter out.